Did get notice from Ms. Parker that public hearing D-21-04, Nicola Cracknell, requesting the variance, development standard variance at Terrace Mobile Home Park, that we do not have jurisdiction over this request. Therefore, we'll accept a motion to dismiss this for lack of jurisdiction from our agenda, if I have such a motion.
Move to remove D-21-04 from our agenda.
Thank you. Have a motion to remove that item on the agenda. Have a second from Mr. Roberts. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is removed. Beyond that, are there any changes or corrections to the agenda this evening?
Nope.
If not, I'll open for a motion to approve the agenda minus the
You got one.
revision. Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second from Gene. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The agenda is approved. Mr. Peden, would you swear in those that are going to be speaking this evening, please? Thank you, Mr. Peden. All right, our first item on the agenda this evening is public hearing D-21-02. John Spear is requesting a development standard variance to build a room addition across lot lines. The property is located at 1525 South Plateau Circle in Jackson Township and is zoned R4. For this application this evening, I have Mr. Spear signed up. I have no one else either in support or in opposition to this petition. Mr. Spear, if you'd come up to the podium, start out by giving us your name and address and tell the board why you need the variance and why we should grant this, please.
John Spear, address 1525 South Plateau Circle, Martinsville, Indiana. The reason for the variance request is we're looking to build a home addition that will cross the lot line. We are the owners of both lots. The lot that's adjacent to where the house is presently is an open vacant lot.
How big of an addition are you planning on putting up there?
Sorry, say again.
How big of an addition are you planning on adding up there?
Probably somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 square foot.
Are you doing this construction yourself, Mr. Spear?
We would hire a contractor.
And this would be something you're hoping to accomplish this spring or when the weather changes?
I hope so, provided we can find contractors and building materials and things of that nature, but yes, that is the place.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
I know.
Questions from the board members?
So I see he's got permission from Painted Hills. That's what we normally ask for.
I have no more questions.
I don't have any questions.
Bill?
No, nothing. This is
Thank you.
logical.
All right, we have no one else signed up to speak again on behalf of or in opposition to this application. So at this point, we'll end our public meeting and go into a public hearing. We are hearing a request for a development standard variance. In order for the board to grant this, we have to agree that the applicant meets three findings of facts. The first being that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because, and the applicant writes, the planned home addition will be on parcels that are currently owned by a homeowner. Number two, The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because, again, the homeowner writes, the planned home addition will be on parcels that are currently owned by homeowner. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because, and the applicant writes, the 2 parcels were purchased together in 2017 and have been purchased together in previous transactions. Lot 34B, and in parentheses, 55-14-07-401-001.00-012 would be difficult to sell separately because the lot is not sufficient for a new home with septic field. The planned addition will be primarily on Lot 33A, with some crossover into Lot 34B. A new septic system and field would be required for any new addition or any addition to the house. The only location for a new septic system and field is on Lot 34B. For the technical reports on this application, the surveyor makes no comment. The health department states they have no objections to the proposed variance. Staff's recommendation on this application is that the small lot sizes create practical difficulties in positioning the house addition, and the required septic system is stated in the petitioner's finding of fact number 3. Therefore, staff is not opposed to the variance request to build across the property line between lots 33A and 34B. Open for discussion.
Knowing this area, in that particular, this is a very logical, common sense request, and we should approve it, in my opinion.
I don't have a problem with it. Knowing the location of it and the layout of the lot and everything, it's be a better use for it than sitting idle.
Gary, any thoughts, comments on this?
With Bill, what do you,
Okay.
we've done them before and hadn't had any problems out there.
And as Bill pointed out, Painted Hills Homeowners Association stated that in a letter to us that they approved the request as well. I would have no objection to this application either. Any other discussion on this?
Nope.
Nope. Open for a motion.
I would move to approve the request by John Spears in petition D-21-02 for a development standard to allow an addition to be built across property lines located at 1525 South Plateau Circle in Jackson Township, Martinsville, Indiana.
I'll second it.
Reasons, finding of facts. Number 1, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because the reasons stated in the petitioner's finding of facts, the reasons stated in the staff report. 2, the value and use of the area adjacent to the property, including variance, will not be affected in a substantial manner because A, the reasons stated in the petitioner's finding of facts, B, the reasons stated in the staff report. And number 3, the zoning, strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties for the use of the property because A, the reasons stated in the petitioner's finding of facts, and B, the reasons stated in the staff report.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second to that motion?
second it.
I have a second from Mr. McGrath. All in favor, please raise your right hands. State aye. 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 It is approved. Thank you, Mr. Spear. This application, thank you for typing it up. Easy for me to read. I struggle enough as it is. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda this evening is public hearing D-21-03. Holloway Engineering, on behalf of Matthew Clapp, is requesting a development standard variance for a reduced side yard setback for 2 structures previously grandfathered. The property is located at 7302 North Banter Road in Harrison Township and is zoned Ag. For this application this evening, I have one person signed up. That would be John Larison. In support of the application, I have no one signed up in opposition and no one else signed up in support of the petition. Mr. Larison.
Thank you, John Larison, Holloway Engineering, 100 Professional Court in Mooresville. I am here for Clap Family. Matthew is the owner of the roughly 9-acre parcel at 7302 North Kansas Road. His mother and father, Beverly and Ricky Clapp, own the 2.5-acre parcel in the middle. In the middle of that 9-acre parcel. And I'll go through a few things in the series of events that led to us being here tonight. In roughly 2005, another land surveyor divided the 2.5 acres off of what actually at the time was Beverly's father's farm. It was a roughly 45-acre farm in both seasons. But the 2.5 was divided right out of the middle of the 9-acre parcel that the father, his name was Howard Keel, where his residence was and had been, looks of the house, had been there for quite a while. His daughter Beverly wanted to build a house out behind her father. Local surveyor came out, and that is where the disconnect begins. The parcel was not divided the way Beverly and Ricky wanted for the 2.5 acres to sit. And I've shown you on your handouts how they expected the parcel to lay. And also, you can see how it ended up. It ended up being a rather north-south oriented lot with a flag out 90 feet of frontage. So it met that one, but it didn't meet many other ordinances. It caused setback issues. Dad's house with Dad's barn. So they asked us to get involved because my grandfather, Howard Keel, passed away. Left that part of his farm to his grandson, Matthew. And now all these years later, Matthew is ready to move on, build a new house elsewhere. So he is selling that 9.1 acres. So, all this time later, Mom has kind of let the fact that it wasn't divided the way that they wanted, kind of just sit and smolder, I guess. It was all in the family, and it didn't matter. But now that her son is selling the house, suddenly it does matter. And they would like to reconfigure the 2.5 acres as I've shown you on the exhibit. So, in looking at the aerial photo, I was troubled by the location of the driveway in relationship to the home. When I read the legal description, it became more trouble, and lo and behold, I found out that the division line is right through the house, right through the barn. And so we're here now to try to fix the whole thing for them so that the son can sell the old house. Mom can live in her house on the reconfigured parcel and not have zoning violations because of the setback issues that were caused by the division. You can see the flat portion of the lot is very close to the front two structures. They're actually closer than that. That line actually runs through those structures. So what we'd like to do here tonight is fix the encroachment problem with that flag portion of our lot. And then, however, in doing so, we still have the setback requirements that we're not meeting. Okay, Morgan County, we've got a 25-foot side yard setback, 35-foot front yard setback. Whether this is determined to be a front yard or a side yard really makes no difference because the home is within 2 feet of that flag portion and the barn. We are asking for this variance tonight simply because the parcel has been divided in this way since 2005. And they were given a permit to build a house, and they were given a permit based on this legal description, and we're trying to find the easiest and least expensive way forward for them to maintain their existing driveway, more or less their existing property flag portion that goes out to the roadway. It's almost hard to imagine how this made it through the timeout. How it was ever recorded and given the building permit, but it was. So we're here tonight to try to clean it up. We're asking for this variance. I understand it's awfully close to the existing structures, but short of building another driveway, which might be a, I don't know, $10,000, $12,000 issue, we'd like for them to just continue to be able to use the same driveway, and again, we're asking for the variance tonight to do so. I'll answer any questions that you have about the way I told that story, anything that you didn't understand.
Questions from the board members?
Yeah, I got one, where you show that layout on, you say you're gonna take where the existing 2.5 acres, the way it lays, and cut it off, and then narrow it out and go straight west with there, and then the other part is gonna turn into, the remaining part of the 9 acres?
It is.
Okay,
And just FYI, you'll notice that the GIS system shows that parcel actually cut in half.
yeah,
That part of it's west, and then you got moms, and then the rest of it's east. That is not accurate. The 2.5 acres the description didn't make it all the way to the south line. I think that the previous surveyor did that on purpose. I hope he did, but I'm not sure.
I noticed on your map that you have here, your attachment you had here, you have an offset in that, down on the west side of it. Where the driveway comes back and then where the property line comes in there. Who owns that property on the north side of the road there?
They own all of that.
They own all of that?
They own 45 acres in more or less a block, also with that west of Jordan park.
I didn't know
Two
if,
own north of Jordan.
I didn't know if Jack Winch owned that or not. I know he owns the other side of it.
He owns south.
Yeah. I didn't know if Jack owned that or not.
They actually own the parcel that is, the two that are north,
Okay.
and one that is west, as well as these parcels for a total of 45 acres.
Okay, but they do own that. That makes a difference in my thinking there real quick. How many feet is this going to go back? How many feet this proposed acreage go back?
I didn't put a dimension on it, but it is a to-scale drawing, so I would say probably it's going to go back about 250 feet west of the current west line of that parcel.
Okay,
One last thing, we did meet setback requirements for the barn. So the newly created line, where we could, suggested by the planning staff that we could possibly use the area to the north so that that flag portion of the property would be out in the field. Okay? Because they own the north adjoining property.
Yeah,
And that would maybe create, that would create more distance between the property and the north line of those, of the home and the barn. I just want to point out that from a common sense standpoint, they're going to use the same driveway either way. You know, even if
did you ever have any dealings with Mr. Keel? Had been a good experience for you, John. That would have been a good experience for you. That's fine. That's all I need to say.
it's obviously a problem that the drive is as close to the homes as it is, but they've lived that way with it for 15 years
Yeah.
now. The buyer of the property does not have a problem with it.
Will there be a road maintenance agreement? Road maintenance or driveway agreement?
We will be preparing a road maintenance agreement.
It's not another family member then? Not another family member buying this piece of?
It is not a family member.
I just said that because Howard's a tough guy to deal with. Known him many years.
I knew the other surveyor.
Mr. Larison?
No.
Not to cut you off, Fred, I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. I didn't say that to be facetiously or anything like that.
This gonna solve the problem, John?
It solves the problem. You know, it's not gonna, I'm sure it's not gonna make the plan director feel any better that they've got a 2-foot setback instead of 25, and I understand that too. But, I think Mike was great, but it is what it is, and it is what it has been for 15 years. I don't know that it would be fair to them to have a driveway either, so where we are.
This 2.5 acres to the west, I see where it says on this particular sheet, John, can you see that from where you're at? It says existing septic system for house. Down below that, it's got a drawing of what looks like maybe a corral or something.
It is a corral.
So the 2.5 acre parcel behind that or to the west of that, what's the use on that parcel?
You know, there is none. They may have hay on it once a year, but there is no structure or obvious use for it. Obviously, they did say that they would like to stay out of the crop field if possible, in solving this problem.
So if, and this is a question more for Ms. Parker, Mr. Peden, if the board and if they choose to approve this request and they sell off this 2.5 acres, now do we add a third home onto this driveway that runs 2 feet away, or would they have to secure their own entrance into that piece of property? Okay. Okay. And if they did that, I guess then they could apply for that and to use that road that's in question here this evening to access that parcel as well. And then it would be up to the plan commission to say yea or nay to that. Okay. Okay, all right. Any other questions from the board members?
No.
Mr. Rumble?
I have none. It sounds like it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Mr. McGrath, any questions
Nope.
for the applicant?
Nope.
No? Thank you, Mr. Larison. All right, this is a petition for development standard variance. Again, we have to agree that the applicant meets 3 findings of facts to approve this. The first being that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community because, and the applicant writes, this request for variance to setback standard is for structures that have been in place for decades, and the existing drive and easements has been in place for at least 20-plus years. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because, and the applicant writes, no changes are being made on the parcel. The variance is for setback issues that have existed for decades. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because, and the applicant writes, the need for the variance has arisen because one property is being sold, and that led to the realization that the division line was running through the dwelling and barn structures. If the variance is not issued, that problem cannot be remedied without building a new driveway. For the technical reports, the health department states they have no objection. The surveyor made no comment. Staff's recommendation on this application is the parcel that was split off in 2005 is commonly referred to as a flag lot because the owners of the flag lot also own the adjacent property to the north. They could shift the flagpole to the north and create a 25-foot side yard for the house on the front parcel. Since this option is available, there is no practical difficulty in the use of the property as referenced in findings of fact number 3. It is up to the board to decide if they want to accept the petitioner's findings of fact in order to resolve the lingering setback issue. Because the property is being sold, staff recommends that a driveway and access agreement be required as a condition of approval to ensure future property owners will have sufficient room to access and maintain their property because of the reduced setbacks. Open for discussion.
Do we wonder if we did something wrong or what? But I don't see, the only thing I worry about is if we've got a good old gravel driveway here and we've got a family with teenage kids that run up and down the driveway, it's gonna be a lot of smoke and dust. You know, if there, what we'd have to do on a road maintenance agreement to stop something like that, I guess. I'm not against this, what we've done here. Sounds logical, but we would need a very good road maintenance agreement, in my opinion. That's all.
Discussion from other members?
No, my only concern would be the same as Bill, the road maintenance agreement on the thing. And then, let me ask this again, Laura. If somebody else buys in that and want to build back in there, you say they won't be able to use this driveway, or they have to get a new driveway?
Well, if it's split, reconfigured new lots, that would require access to Banter Road. So
Yeah.
more than likely, it would be having to use this access that's created, the flagpole portion.
Okay.
But that lot would have to meet all the requirements of whatever standards are in place at that time.
That's all I've got.
Jerry or Gene? Well, I agree with staff's comment that the practical difficulty may not exist on that, where they could shift to the north. On the other hand, I look at it and say that if the family member that's remaining there doesn't have an issue with it, they know the property is going to be sold, they're not here tonight to object to it. It seems like we can maybe clean up something that was done, possibly in error previously years ago.
I guess this is a question to Mark and Laura. Does anything need to be noted in the recorder's office concerning this for any, because obviously there's an older couple that live here since their son is selling his property. If they want to sell it and a new owner comes in, do we need to have any notification to them from a practical standpoint? Are we not obligated? Or would we be fair and say, hey, this exists this way because of a decision that we made? Their deed? Do they have to get title insurance? Okay. Thank you. Do you feel that we've done due diligence if we approve this? I have nothing else.
Any other discussion from the board members? No, barring that, then we'll open for a motion.
Somebody going to do it? I would move that we approve the motion made by Matthew Cleft, petition D-21-03 for a development standard variance to allow reduced side setback dwelling and the accessory barn on property located at 7302 North Banner Road in Harrison Township. This is made for the following motions in the finding of facts. The approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and welfare of the community because, and that's reason stated in A and B, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantial manner, adverse manner because the reason stated in petition finding of facts and the reason stated in the staff report, that's number A and B. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulties for the use of the property because the reason stated in A and B. And then my motion also includes the following conditions, include time frame to be implemented. Maintenance agreement in effect prior to the lot being sold or I can't really say that, the people moving in. That logical. It has to be done immediately. It can't wait or anything like that. Okay, that's I require prior to possession or moving in.
Did you capture all?
Prior, you're saying prior to possession of, when they sell that lot?
When they sell that lot,
Has
that's,
to be
that road
prior
agreement
to
has to
that.
be signed along with it.
That's what I understood.
All right.
Conditions.
Just for my clarification on this, you're saying before the property can be sold, and Laura's saying that they can make it
It can't be
a
made before we
requirement to have that road maintenance agreement in prior to her office issuing final approval for this. Am I interpreting that correct? Which I think we'd be better off to do that way.
in the sale contract.
It's not hinging on that. It just,
I agree.
we can make that in addition to possibly, Bill, but I would
Yeah.
want it before the planning
We're
office.
basically saying, and
gives
correct me if I'm
approval.
wrong, this is part of the sale agreement.
Well, what if the sale falls through? So that's why I'm saying, make it a part of the staff's approval of the split when it comes across our office. When John draws it up and submits it for recording, we can make sure that that agreement's in place at that time. And then that's gonna exist whether there's a sale or not.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
That's what I wanted. I really didn't say it too well.
Yeah.
It's a good idea that way.
So are we amending your motion to make it?
Yeah, I don't have
prior
a
to the
second yet,
office
so I
giving
can amend it,
approval?
yes. That it's, how are we gonna phrase this? To be dead right?
To have the road maintenance agreement in place.
Before the plot change is approved.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, anything else with your motion there, Mr. Rumball? So I have a motion with a condition attached to that motion to approve. Do I have a second for that?
A second.
Second from Mr. Roberts. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Say aye. Aye. It is approved. All right, again, public hearing D21-04 has been removed from the agenda. Mr. Peden, do we have a BZA attorney report this evening?
That removal was brought about by something that happened last Monday in the legislature. The state legislature overruled a veto by
Well, going back a little bit there.
Too low. Ooh.
Good way your age now, Mark.
Senate Control Act number 148, which said that a unit, which is you, may not enforce an ordinance that mandates size requirements for a manufactured home as defined by Indiana code. A manufactured home that will be placed in a mobile home community licensed under Indiana code. So we have a case where a manufactured home, as defined by statute, is going to be put in a mobile home community as defined by statute. And in that case, you cannot regulate the size of that mobile home anymore. Now, if that mobile home is going to be put out on Graveyard Road on Beach and Bounds parcel, it has to still be 950 square feet. And 14 by 70 mobile home is 980 square feet. Most common size of mobile homes is 14 by 70, so that would still be okay. And you could require the 950 over 950 square feet by law, it's in a mobile home community. So that was just last month.
Have they got, is there a interpretation in there somewhere on this, Mark, that you know of, is the difference between a manufactured home, like there's, and a camper?
Yeah, and the statute refers to a definition under Indiana Code 36-7-4-1106. And so, and you get the question, well, what about a
Travel trailer.
tiny home?
Yeah.
Tiny home.
Is that a manufactured home as defined by statute? I'm not looking at that statute, so I don't know.
That's what I was getting at, so the manufactured, those mini homes that they call them now.
Does this not mean, does this not mean that if I had a travel trailer, I could, like on this construction job out here, I'm gonna be there for a year or two, I could pull it into a mobile home park and park it? Like a travel trailer, like significant amount of these people have here that are coming here for.
Well, it depends on whether that meets the definition of a manufactured home,
Yeah.
or is it a travel trailer, or is it the same thing as a manufactured home?
Recreational vehicles such as campers, travel trailers, those types of things are defined as intended for temporary or seasonal use, whereas manufactured homes and mobile homes, those things.
Could be a permanent
Permanent.
residence.
Permanently.
Yeah, there's a fine line in there, and that's why I was questioning on that thing, where it goes to. You know, these mini homes that there is out there, some people classify those as travel trailers, and others that classify them as a permanent home.
So this is something that was just on us in the last few days, and it's new.
Thank you for bringing that in, Mark.
On this, as just a side note, when I was out there looking at it, is this, and Mark, you may not know this, maybe Laura does, or some of the other board members, is this mobile home community connected to the sewer, for lack of the right term, wiser addition sewer system? Do we know?
I don't know if it is or not. And I know the area around it is, but I can't tell you if that mobile home park it is. I know 99% of the area surrounding it is connected to it. But I can't tell you if the mobile home park is.
Okay.
Would that be a Board of Health problem anyhow?
Beg your pardon?
Would that be a Board of Health problem anyhow? Septic?
It could be if it got into that. Depends on how far they're going to extend it out. But that would be a situation they'd have to bring up.
The state actually issues mobile home park licenses,
Yeah.
so that would be covered under their purview to determine. This one's been around since 1960, so I don't know if it started out with it and maybe it is now. I don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't see any type of sewer facility when I drove through it, but I didn't go down every road either. Okay, just wondering. Was just wondering.
I've only been back in there one time, and that was for some township assistance that was giving out. And I went back in there to help in that situation, but I hadn't pursued the sewer end of it. Good point, John.
I think the statute only applies to governmental units, so I don't see anything in here that would prohibit the mobile home community itself from having a regulation that required 950 square feet.
Thank you. Ms. Parker? Thank you. Other business to be conducted this evening from the board? Open for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. Have a second. Second from Jerry. All in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye. Aye, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Red. Nothing built on it, and it fails a perk test. How do you remedy a perk test?
Depends on the property and the soil and stuff that you do.
Red, all yours.
He may.
Minute.
On it before the meeting.
You love it, you love
Hey,
it.
I wouldn't mean anything. I've known that guy for years. His wife used to work for me.
Yep. His daughter is just a swell gal. She really is, Beverly.
Yeah, I know Beverly.
A
I know who
person-
Beverly is.
Person has a piece of property, and it fails a perk test.